Friends, welcome to Salesforce CRM video session 171. So basically in today's video, we will actually learn about the configured action, how we can configure the action in our lens, and probably how we can also do it on the dataset. That's what we are going to learn today. So we'll go to the Analytics Studio. Here we will open this particular dataset. And for example, the count of rows, let's say I go for something like account ID, okay, which is over here, account ID. Now, as you can see, these are some of the account IDs which open up. Now, let me do one thing. Let me go to compare table first of all. Okay. So under compare table, as you can see, I have this account ID. Fine. And what I will do is here, if I just go for this configure actions. So basically, let me tell you the concept of configure actions before doing anything. Configure actions means there are some records which are existing because Salesforce CRM is nothing but a native product of Salesforce tool, right? Salesforce tool. So what happens is like if you want to basically open any records which are there on your internal side of Salesforce, at that time you can utilize this option. Fine. So you will be able to open that particular record. Okay. So as you can see, a record ID field, dataset field that contains the Salesforce record like opportunity ID. So for example, here I will go for account ID as of now. Display fields, how you want to display the table or chart selection applies to multiple Salesforce records. Show this dataset field to help the user choose the right one. So basically, if it applies to multiple Salesforce record, then we can choose the right one from here. Okay. So here also I will select the account ID. That's fine. Okay. 1 minute. Let me click on done once. Okay, let me just open that once again. For some reason it was yeah. So basically I have selected this account ID and Salesforce account ID as well for this account ID. Now if I want to, if you see over the eye icon, information icon, it's written allow users to open Salesforce record or users directly from web. Web means the CRM product, earlier it was known as web, and perform Salesforce action allows user to perform Salesforce actions on the object. So basically, if you want to log a case, if you want to make a call, those kind of actions you can do. So what we will do is we will just enable this one. Okay. So how you want to open the record? So these are the different things, whether you want to open the URL, whether you want to open the Salesforce record multiple logs or simply the Salesforce record. We will just go for Salesforce record and I am clicking on done. Okay, that's it. Now, if you see one pop-up is coming up over here. Okay, now let me do one thing. Let me also open the account name. Okay, so with this pop-up which is coming up now, if I just click on open record, okay, you see I have mentioned the account name which is MapLeaf, and if you see this has opened the MapLeaf record. Okay, that's the thing about this one. Now what I can do is maybe I can also okay, yeah, that's the thing about this configure action. Now we have this option of not this one. We have this option of giving the URL, but for this one it's not needed because then you have to paste that particular URL. Okay, to URL to open to pass dataset field values as URL fed was used below. Okay, so these are some things which we can deal with at a later stage, but currently it's not needed. Okay, and we can perform the tooltip. But as of now, I think, and if it is a multiple log coming from different logs, then you can go for multiple logs. But with the Salesforce record, as you can see, like it has opening that record. One drop down will immediately come when you configure the action, and you can open any record. Okay. So for example, let's say I want to open something like Nash 127. Okay. Nash 127 incorporation. So if I just click on the open record, it's going to open with this one. Fine. So that is all about this configuration. Now what we can do is and also check if it works for the other tables or not. So very quickly, I will just go for the values table. And I think whatever information is here, that is completely fine. And here again, I will go for configure action. I will go for the account ID. Okay, the display field, I will choose the account ID once again. And just click on done once because otherwise somehow this window doesn't pop out. So we will click on done once. And again, I will open this configure action. And here I can choose the open Salesforce record. Okay, so you can give a tooltip like this will I'm sorry, something wrong happened. I guess something is getting off over here. Let me try once again. There is some issue which I'm facing. So configure action, open Salesforce record and tooltip. But I'm giving any space actually it's redirecting me over there. Anyways, that's fine. I will click on done. Okay. Now, if you see here also is the same thing. For example, if I open like 𝘾𝙤𝙤𝙛𝙞𝙬𝙀 Incorporation, if I open this record, it's going to open with this one. Okay. Now the same thing you can also do for pivot table as well, I guess so. So let's very quickly check once whether that can be done for pivot table or not. So with the pivot table, let's say I go for once again the account ID, and here I can still choose the configure action. So in the pivot table, at least I can make it more like a pivot table so that we can check it. I will go for industry, and here once again I will go for the configure action, and display record field will be account ID, display field it will be account ID as well. And here once again, if I click on the configure action, I will open the Salesforce record. So that is fine. The tooltip is once again, let's me write it as account ID and click on that. So again, as you can see, this is opening, this will open the Salesforce record. Okay. Maybe I can also go for, I think that's fine. Maybe I can open randomly anyone, and you can check. I am not popping the account name over here. So this is about Johnston 133 Incorporation. Okay. Now the thing is that here, as we have understood, like if it comes to compare table, values table, and pivot table, like all the tables, that definitely will work. But what about the charts? Okay. So for example, let's say now I go for account ID over here, and again over here, if I go for the configure action, okay, let's say I go for account ID. So the configure action is set, and here again, if I go for the configure action, let's say I open a Salesforce record, okay, that is fine. And if you see on the chart mode, also you can open it, okay. So that is something which we were not having at one stage, but in the chart mode also you can open the Salesforce record. So for example, here is the chart code, and if you want to show that record action, if you just click on this one, so what I would do is I would also open the account name, for example. So you see under this one, you get this option to open the Salesforce record. For example, if I want to open the Underwood 142 Incorporation, I have to just click on this open record, and it's opening with that one. Okay. So these are some of the things. So basically, as we have understood, like this is the compatible. So let me just write as configure actions in compare table. I will go for the recipe dataset, click on save. And similarly, we have something called as the configure action in values table. I will go for the recipe dataset, click on save. And then we have something called as the configure action for pivot table. Okay. We'll go for the recipe dataset once again. And find the configure actions in charts. Now that is all about this one. Okay, so basically in each of the lanes you can set the configuration. As I told you, whenever you go for the option of configuration, you will be able to open the Salesforce record. Now this is about opening the Salesforce record, which is definitely there. Now let's say in addition to that, I instead of opening the Salesforce record, okay, let's say I want to perform Salesforce action. Okay, so I have that option of choosing all action, or I can choose the action as well. So for example, let's say there are many quick actions which are there. So quick actions are something, where you can instantly take actions. Like you can change the owner, you can email, you can link, you can log a call, you can create a new account. Okay. Let's say I go for a new account. Fine. Let me just go for this one, a new account. I just want that one. Okay. Let me click on that. Now, what will happen is, let's say for Maple Leaf, if I just click on this one, so no actions available. Okay. Let me go for all actions as of now. So let me choose all the actions and let me click on done. Now what will happen is, here if you see, there are many options which are coming up. Okay, I can create a new task, a new event, new contact. Okay, I can log a call, I can create a new note. Okay, I can change the owner as well. So there are many options. So for example, let's say I want to go for creating a new case. Okay, so if I just log into here, so it will automatically pop up this option where I can create a new case. Fine. So let's say it's a new, fine, and subject is like case from configure action, and let me click on save. So it's a new case which got created. So how we can check that? We can just go to this dataset export. So let me just check it from here. And we can just write select. Maybe I can also go for something like created date. Okay, and maybe I can order by created date descending. So as you can see, today's date is 28. This is the record which got created. So let's say I just open this Salesforce record. So when I log the quickest case from configuration, that's the case which got logged in. Okay. So these are some of the quick actions which you can instantly perform. Similarly, I have just shown you one. You can create a new task, a new event, okay, a new contact as well. So if you want to create a new contact, just like I did a new case, you can create a new. So these are some of the Salesforce actions which can be performed if you click on this one. Now, if you want to go for either of them, because currently you can only perform the quick actions which Salesforce provide, and all these options are there. And if you want to show both, like you want to open the record as well as perform quick action, then again you can go to configure action and you can select this one of opening the records and you can click on done. Okay. So ideally, it will also open the record. For example, it will open the record if I want to, and I can also do any other quick actions which is required. Okay. So this is all about this one. Let me just click on save on this one. Now, the thing is that here, definitely we have understood what is the configure action on the lens part. Okay. But what happens is, let's say if I open this record, fine. And let's say I know it's there in the chart mode, but let me just jump directly to values mode. And the problem is here, whenever I open that data set, automatically that will not come up because I've done the configure action on the lens side. Okay. So automatically, if I open any new data set, which will come as a lens when we explore that. Okay. But whenever you open a data set, that configuration will not be there. Of course, in all this lens, if I just close this and reopen, for example, let's say if I just refresh this one for values table, definitely it will stay intact for that particular one because it's defined on the lens level, the configure action. But to ensure whenever you open a data set, and if you want to ensure that the configure action is being there, like you can open that record, then what you can do is directly over here, you can just go for the edit mode of the data set. And under that, you will have that option of configuring the action. Okay. So let me edit it once again. Okay, I think the data set open. And here, if I click on the configure action, and here I can go for this account ID. And under account ID, I will select the account ID. I will select that account ID as well. Okay. And I will open the Salesforce record. As of now, I'm just opening the Salesforce record and clicking on save. Okay. Now, what I will do is I will refresh this one. So let me reload. That's fine. So on this data set, now if you explore it, okay. So for example, if I explore this one, and directly if I go to my values table, okay. So now what happens is, as you can see, automatically this will pop up, okay. Because right now we have defined the configure action on the data set level. So whenever we explore the data set, you will automatically get this configure action part over. For example, let's say I want to open this 𝘼𝒏𝒔, okay, 𝘼𝒏𝒔 Incorporation. So if you see, it has opened with the 𝘼𝒏𝒔 35 Incorporation. So that's the way. Of course, you could have also select, perform Salesforce actions. That's completely fine. I've selected that option is opening. So that's one thing which I wanted to explain you, that, when you have the configure action where you can define on a lens level, which is fine, that lens level option is there, but it will only be intact for that particular lens. That means if you open that lens, that will be there. But whenever you open or explore the dataset in the first instance, that option, that configuration won't be there. You have to manually do it. Okay. But in case the client requirement is like, whenever I'm dealing with this data set, automatically that should come up, that should open up. And this way, if you can just, create that table on the dashboard, which we'll be doing in further sessions, you will be able to do that at one go, where you can actually open any Salesforce record, or, log any new contact or new business, or whatever other, quick actions the Salesforce provides, that options will be there. Fine. So that's the thing about this one. And this is like more about configure actions on the lens level as well as on the data set level. Yeah, that's it about this one. And thank you. Let's meet very soon in our next video.